Hexen for the Nintendo 64. Is it really that bad? But wait, who's even saying it's bad? Actually, my buddy Eric got himself into a little bit of trouble when he mentioned Hexen 64 in his 9 Circles of Gaming Hell video he made last Halloween, saying that it was, quote,
awful, awful, awful.
And even I said to myself, wow, I don't remember that game being that bad. To which I then asked myself, wait a minute, Hexen 64? Is it really that bad? What you are about to watch is an experimental way to produce this show. Eric and I naturally live in different places, so in order to document our real-time reactions and first impressions to this game, we each played the game separately, taking notes along the way, and then checked in for progress reports on Skype, discussing our experiences. But first, I gave Eric a chance to explain himself. So I got Eric on the line. You wanna kind of explain your case a little?
Sure. The video, it wasn't meant to be a review. And I wasn't looking at it like, let's get in depth on this game and talk about the game. I just wanted to show how it applied to the Circle of Hell. And
so it was kind of like, it was a joke. It was just kind of a punchline. It was a joke.
It's definitely not awful, awful, awful. Like I said,
it's an awful game.
I exaggerated for, like you said, to fit into the Circle of Heresy. Because I said the game itself is heresy.
This game is heresy toward games. The game itself is heresy.
That's pretty outrageous. So
not even true at all, yeah.
Not even true. So
I think that statement is heresy.
The statement, what I said was heresy. And the game itself, it's not awful, awful, awful.
Awful, awful, awful.
But it's not. I don't like it that much.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but it looks like you just kind of captured footage of that very first level.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, I didn't play it beyond that. But like what I had played, I was trying to play through, and I wasn't enjoying it. I'd rather play Doom or something like that.
I played Heretic on the PC a long time ago, and I played Hexen 2, again, a long-ass time ago. I've not ever played Hexen on the PC. Have you?
Really, really briefly, and I didn't get a good chance to play it. But I mean, I really just saw my friend playing Hexen, and I kind of checked it out a little bit, but I never really played the game properly.
Yeah, so I think it's also important to state, for the folks at home, we are aware of the PC version. We are not here to review that. We're not here to play that. We're checking out the N64 port, because I think in this day and age, without dipping into illicit means, it's the easiest and most common way to play Hexen, I think. I have not really played it. I rented it way back in the day. I think we can agree that maybe Hexen for the PC is really good, but in terms of first-person shooters on N64, Hexen is not at the top of the heap.
GoldenEye is.
Yeah, and Hexen is probably somewhere right in the middle. I don't know, Eric, you ready to hit it?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do this thing. So the first level, kind of a trial level. Not a whole lot to talk about that first little section there. Now you went as the barbarian, right? And I was the mage.
Yeah, I was the fighter. But one thing I want to say off the bat is that it's cool that you can pick those 3 guys, but I do not like the fighter because you have to go up and go bare knuckle melee fighting, and I want to shoot things.
No, but then again, I'm the sorcerer and I get infinite ammo with my gun, but it shoots kind of slow, and things seem to take a lot of hits, and because you're just going zap, 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 there's just no kind of satisfaction really involved in shooting them. I think punching, it's a more visceral, relatable kind of motion, and I think it's probably more fun to punch something and feel like that. Yeah, punched a dude. I'm just all you see is the end of your stick with your little gem going zap zap. Right? I gotta say right now, Hexen, kind of boring.
Yeah.
I'm digging this scepter. I got infinite ammo, but when am I gonna get new weapons?
Yeah, see, that was the thing with mine. It's I don't have shit. I just have knuckles. So I'm punching everybody, and you can get to a point where you can hit him without getting hurt. But I got my ass beat. I'm not gonna lie, I got my ass beat because I'm not used to playing like that. And I got to there's a kind of a sweet spot where you can punch them from if you actually, relative to the distance in Hexen, you can punch someone from 8 feet away, it looks like, which is kind of nice because otherwise you're not going to avoid damage. But when you get up close, you're going to get hit, and so that's the thing. It's kind of a pain to fight as that guy, and the only other thing you could do is pick up those green, those green potion bottles, and I was unable to.
What do they do? I think I accidentally dropped one and it blew up and I hurt myself.
Yes, exactly. But
you can't throw them. Am I supposed to lay them down like bombs?
You can throw them, but you have to hit them perfectly, and I did, and there's no payoff. I still had to hit him 2 or 3 times.
This game does not really explain itself, but at the same time, I like that it's kind of open world-ish. You know, there's a church to go into, and then you go behind you, there's a cave that leads you to like another church area, and there's some other caves and stuff. So I think in many ways they decided to do things just because Doom did it differently. Like they did it just because we're being different, and I'm not exactly sure if, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of bored right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is for me, like, I think hell as a setting is just so awesome in games. You know, that's why I did the whole Dante's Inferno thing and everything. It's surprisingly underused, I think, considering Doom was such an influential game. But I love Doom. It takes place in hell. You can't top hell. So they take the formula for Doom and they're like, oh, it's a magic RPG fantasy land. It's different, but it's not better.
Now, what do you think of these controls? I know this game does not have strafe controls. It's all on the control stick. Like left and right don't strafe you, they turn you. And so the Z button is strafe on, and that turns left and right to make it strafe. And so I'm not sure if the game just kind of runs slow, or maybe my character does, but them controls, I feel like they're going to take me a bit to get used to.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time doing that at the beginning. I changed between, there's two settings. There's control stick and control pad. And control pad is just super goofy because, I mean, you're not going to play a 3D first-person game with a pad. But you can do that, and then when you strafe, I can't remember which, it's R and L to strafe, and it's super awkward. You can do it with the stick, like you said, and hold the Z button, but either way, it doesn't make sense. The control schemes, both of them, I don't like them that much, but I'm gonna go with control stick, of course. Turok just did it so much better. I mean, you know, looking with the C buttons, and it just worked so much better.
Yeah, no, you walked up, down, left, right with the C buttons, and you looked with the stick, and it just made sense.
Yeah.
But I think also it's probably fair to say, you know, we've both played a lot of GoldenEye, and when you're playing a first-person shooter and on the N64, it's years and years of GoldenEye. It's hard to go back, but I think that's a valid complaint to bring up because a lot of people that are watching this video have played GoldenEye. They're probably gonna pick up Hexen for the N64, and they might also get that like, how come I can't strafe and I can't circle strafe?
I guess some cool things are like the traps that they have in the game, like, you know,
yeah,
the wall.
I kind of like that.
That's pretty cool. You know, obviously the first time I played it, I wasn't expecting. I just got squished to death.
Now the fireball trap, I thought was kind of weird. I didn't get that.
I don't know what you're really supposed to do. It looked like there's like a button behind the wall, but I got squished.
Oh, I just was trying to check stuff out, and it flipped over and started shooting me, so I just ran.
Being able to look up and down is kind of cool, but it didn't seem that useful.
Wait,
to me.
Is there actually a look up and down?
Yeah, you can look up and down.
How do you? Oh, how?
I'm trying to think. I between the two different setups. God, how did you do it?
I gotta look at the controls then, because there's at one point I went to this tower and flipped the switch and then went down the steps, but this door had opened up and I couldn't see, like I couldn't walk forward because there were dudes down there, and so I was just shooting randomly, people I couldn't see.
Yeah. Well, at least with Doom, I mean, you know, it auto aims up and down for you, but like
for my laser zap scepter, it auto aims for me.
Oh, it does?
Like
well, then what's the point of looking up and down?
So I could at least see what the hell's going on. Well, that way, I mean, if I was low on life and I went down that steps, I get smashed.
And, I straight jumped off the clock tower.
Well, that's what I had to do because I couldn't see anything. So I was like, I'm jumping off this and in even ground. Dude, I had trouble finding the silver key.
Yeah, I didn't have so much trouble with that, but like once I got to the clock tower, I was like, I got to that first set where there's those two doors, and I couldn't find the keypad. And that's kind of the other thing that bugs me, is that you use the same button to jump that you do to activate stuff. That's weird. I don't know why they couldn't assign it to a different button. Oh, I missed the door because I jumped. That's not good.
Yeah. Or like I'm trying to hit a switch and I'm just jumping like an idiot. It seems kind of weird.
I did that.
Well, I'm not quite sure if it was a good or a bad thing though, because once you get the first key and you go that tower, there's like you have to ring the bell, but that door is locked, and I couldn't figure out how to get to the silver key. I missed that little cave.
Oh, right.
I completely missed that cave. I had to turn on my map to find it, and I wasn't sure if that was like kind of shitty because like, oh, bad graphics, couldn't see it, or like it was just genuinely well hidden, and that maybe good on you, Hexen. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, hidden behind the pixelated trees.
Yeah,
I mean, and the graphics are pretty. I mean, I know what era we're talking about, but they're still kind of especially bad.
The game runs well enough that the graphics are bad, but doesn't hurt the experience for me. The frame rate's a bit slow.
Yeah.
But so far, the game seems to just the enemies move at a slow pace. You shoot at a slow pace. The enemies fire and where Doom and Quake move very quickly. Hexen seems content to take its time. All right, so I think not much else to talk about. We're just kind of dipping our toe into the water here, I think it's time we jump in, because I think the first level is a bit of a training, and then there's like 7 portals next, and that's where I'm at right now. So let's explore that level, and then we'll come back and talk about some more.
Would you say 7 circles of hell, maybe? No, you wouldn't.
7 deadly sins.
Yeah, 7 portals.
7 portals, something like that. 7's bad. Wait, 7's a good number.
It's lucky 7. Yeah, like that movie 7. Super lucky.
So funny. That movie was hilarious. What's in the box? I was laughing.
Oh man.
All right, let's get back to this.
All right.
So we got to the portal level, and I did not realize it was just going to be a hub. I thought there was going to be more of a level there.
Yeah, it's just a 7 portal hub, I guess.
Now, I texted you because I was like, hey, I just found this cavern of ice. I'm going to the Guardian of Ice. What do you got?
Been there, done that, and now I'm in the fire portal land. Forgot
So you
what it's
already
called.
beat the quadrant of ice you got ahead of me?
No, I went in there, and I don't know where I got in there, but it sent me back to the portal. So I went back to the portal, I was like, alright, so I just kept playing, and then I got to the ice land. I guess you can go wherever you want.
Oh, okay, because I saw that portal, and I didn't dive into it yet. And then I wandered around. I found a new weapon. I found ice hands. I can shoot ice like Sub-Zero now.
Oh, I found a new weapon.
And that weapon is?
It's an axe. I was waiting for you to axe.
Fuck you, Eric.
That's so dumb. Yeah, so I found an axe, and it's actually pretty good. I mean, you know, once you fight, you know, like the regular, I don't know, I'm gonna call them orcs because they're like the orcs from Doom. But yeah, once you hit them with the axe, 2 hits and they're dead. So that's kind of nice. You know those green guys with the really big heads? I don't know if they're supposed to have like long necks and the perspective makes it look goofy, but I just laugh when I saw them. They have these big ass heads, but they're really freaking hard to fight when you're a fighter because they shoot fire and you got to get right up next to them to hit them. So once I got the axe, it was a little bit easier to kill them, but it's still a bitch to play.
I bet if you could do some circle strafing on them and get some, you know, dodging and weaving, you could probably they probably wouldn't be as difficult. But
the controls are balls.
Yeah, not only that, like, am I crazy? Am I doing this wrong? My left hand is on the control stick with the Z button, right? Yep. That's where my hand is. If I want to look, I gotta move my hand to the other part of the controller to hold Z, and then look up and down with the control pad.
That's not good. That's not a good controller layout.
Well, I'm comparing notes with you. Is that how it's done?
Oh no, that's how it's done. If you're using the controller stick, you got to use the D-pad to look up and down.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I think they could have done better with the control schemes.
I'm thinking these controls are like actually bad.
They're very bad.
I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. Like, no, they're not this bad. They wouldn't do that. Like, that's horrible.
They did that. There's 2 schemes, and they're neither of them are that good. They're bad.
Neither of them are explained either, right?
Yeah.
You go to the options that says control stick or pad.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, you know, I don't have the instruction booklet to look at, so the game's not.
Oh no, yeah, we both bought this game used. We just bought loose carts for like $5 and $10.
We're playing it like a newborn. We don't know how to play a game.
These enemies, as a whole, not much to look at.
No, we've only encountered 3 enemies so far. There's like the orc guys, the flying guys, and the guys with the big green heads looking like dummies.
Yeah, I end up just throwing or just placing spells or potions rather.
Please walk into my spell.
Yeah, I walk into it and they blow up and die instantly. And even when they blow up into a big geyser of gore, even that didn't look very good. Like, well, yeah. Even that animation, like, was better on Doom. Like,
yeah.
I think in the offset, we hypothesized this was definitely a middle-of-the-road first-person shooter. I can almost confirm now this is definitely middle-of-the-road first-person shooter for N64. I will say I like it. It's kind of cool when you walk around and there's like leaves that blow around.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool touch.
That's the thing. There's nice little touches. I mean, you know, it's a Doom clone basically, but it doesn't do. I mean, not that it has to like change the game, but it doesn't do that much more for the genre. I feel it's like kind of unnecessary. I don't know.
It was just let's make Doom, but instead of sci-fi and aliens, wizards and warriors, and warlocks. So far, its best compliment. It's not Doom. It is so not Doom. They set out to make a not Doom, and boy, did they ever make a not Doom.
I don't know. I kind of feel like the more I play it, the more I don't like it. But and by the way, like I said, my initial, it was exaggerated. It's not awful.
Awful.
But I just kind of like it a little less the more I played it. I got to the fire world, and right in the beginning, you walk out onto a platform. It just crumbles beneath you, and you fall into the fire. No warning, no foreshadowing. You're in the fire now. The traps thing is cool what it does with that. I mean, it has the same monster closets and that kind of thing that Doom had, but like the actual trap mechanic, I don't know if it was that executed that well, because it's kind of a trial and error thing.
How did you even get into the fire world? I wandered around, and I couldn't find any other keys or switches to let me open up any other doors. That was the ice cavern was the only thing I could find.
I kind of don't remember, honestly. I mean, I was just wandering around that big, 7 portal area. When I came back out of the ice portal, there was an axe in the middle. Like, there's those 2 flags in the middle?
Yeah.
That area had opened up. I don't remember how I did it. But that area had opened up. I hit a switch while I was in the ice world, actually. And that must have done it. But when I went over there, I had the axe. And
that's
then
where I found my ice. Because when you got the axe, I got ice hands. And I found that they were not that much more powerful than my normal gun. And matter of fact, my normal pew pew laser beam, I would freeze. I would use my ice, and then they would freeze, and then I would keep shooting them, and they wouldn't die. So I had to switch back over to my scepter to break them up, like Sub-Zero style, break them up because they were frozen. But maybe I was like, maybe I got it wrong. It seemed kind of weird. I don't know, man. I think we should push on because I think we're trying to make bold statements about a game we haven't quite played enough of. Let's get back into it.
Let's play more of it.
All right. All right, man. So we just went through the portals of portals of fire, and did you get through the portal or the Guardian of Steel?
I didn't get through it.
Well, I did get through it, and that's when I texted you. You done, man?
I was well done by then. Overdone.
Yeah, all right. So, this game is a really strange way that it progresses. I think that could be on us. Again, I'm trying to give the game the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Not really knowing what the hell we're doing and what's going on. The game doesn't really telegraph where to go next and what these items do and why I should care. But man, the traps in the Guardian of Fire,
cheap.
What the fuck was that?
Cheap.
Oh my god.
I want to take back what I said about the traps. I mean, okay, it's an interesting thing to add into the Doom world, yeah?
Yes.
But it's not fun, and it's definitely not well implemented.
So, yeah, there's that big long stretch, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run across this shit.
No, you're not.
Get it, no problem. And then the whole thing just crumbles.
Yeah.
And I after dying like 3-4 times, I don't know, I noticed there's a lip on the left-hand side when you enter. You can just walk on that little ledge and bypass the whole bridge. So why the fuck even have the platforming segment? If you're giving the player a reason to just cheat and skip over it, why have it in the first place?
Derek, do you want to know what I didn't notice?
What?
Until you told me about 400 deaths later. Hey, there's this little ledge. You could just walk the whole way. And I was just trying to jump from ledge to ledge. I was like, I got to the second ledge. Let me save it here. Okay, third ledge. It didn't work. It did not work.
Wow.
I died over and over.
I wanted to save because I kept on dying and I kept on going through those 3 rooms, which aren't hard, but there's a lot of guys, so it takes a long time to get through them. Yeah. There's no checkpoints, but you can save anywhere you want, which is nice, but it's like 90 pages. I don't have any room on my card. So I had to start over every single friggin' time. But let's take it back. Let's get in the mind of the game creators here. People put this shit together. I'm sure on the PC, looking and jumping is easier than it is on N64.
For sure.
We talked a minute ago about how you have to look with the L button and the D-pad. You can look with the right button, the R button, but you still have to initiate the look function. You can push R or L, but you still have to use the D-pad. So it's not intuitive. Like, I'm looking, but then I have to move my hand to another place to actually do the look, and then to move forward and jump, I have to move my hand and fingers to another place. The controls are balls, as you said. Controls are horrible.
Balls, yeah.
Balls. It's fair to say that this kind of N64 first-person shooter was in its infancy. They had not figured out to get the controls. And even though I like Doom 64, even that, you still have to really play with the controls. And though they give you the freedom to map anything to any button that you want, in Hexen, no, they don't even tell you what the changes are.
Yeah.
And
pad or stick.
And have you fucking, oh my god, did you see this? When you switch to pad, all right, so when you have control pad, B is shoot. But when you have control stick, A is shoot.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Wow.
And that is not the only change. Like, first off, when you use the D-pad, you turn way slower, so useless, done. And when you switch over just to see what it's like, all the buttons are different. Jump is different, strafe is different. Like, oh god.
Controls are super bad.
Controls are really bad.
You know, I mean, Turok, the whole platforming thing in there is super awkward in Turok. And it's a first-person shooter. It doesn't have to have platforming. But in Hexen, it's completely broken because you try to jump from thing to thing, and when you look down, you're just looking at this big flat plane. You're not looking at a 3D thing. You're looking at a big pixelized pillar. And you try and jump on that, good luck.
You really have no idea where your feet are, like where your character is standing. You have no clue. And it's also like the game designers knew that was bullshit, so they gave you that ledge so you can bypass the whole thing, which is, I can't quite figure out. That's huge. That's bad. That is bad.
Yeah.
And that leads to another problem. Is the whole point of that sequence is to get this thing called the Mask of Terror or something. I forget what it was.
Fire mask.
Fire mask, and that's an item you can use, much like the
green bottle.
The green bottles and the flasks and stuff. The purple one fills your health and the green one blows up. The mask is also an item, but in the Guardian of Steel, I kept on accidentally turning it on, and it was like, you can't use this item. It's like, that's cool, then why can I don't care. I'm trying to heal myself.
Where can I use it? Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. I couldn't, and this could be a failure on our parts, but I can't find a way to change my inventory. Like, you got that flashette or whatever the hell it's called, the green flask, or I don't know what it's called, but you can't change from that to the crystal quartz, that purple.
Yeah, you can. I
thing
found it accidentally if you hit C left and C right while holding Z.
Oh, why didn't I think of that? Because it's horrible.
Yeah, well, I only discovered it accidentally because I was trying to strafe and change my weapon. And then I accidentally did that, and I was like, that's cool, but I want to... Wait, no, but I want to actually change my weapon now. Fuck, what's going on? So that was... Yeah, that's bad.
They could have had multiple different... just besides stick and pad, they could have had game type A, B, C, D, like different layouts for the controller. That would have helped immensely.
We can keep talking about this game, but I think the conclusion I'm going to reach is... I think this game is bad for N64, but I would give it the benefit of the doubt and say this game is not great, but still good for PC. And can you imagine? There was a Saturn version of this game and a PlayStation 1 version. I kind of want to play them too.
No, you don't.
Kinda. If for real, if I ever see them cheap, I'm
picking them up. Super cheap, on the cheaper than the 64 version.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I paid $10 for mine. You said you paid $5, right?
I paid $5, and the guy laughed at me for buying it. Now I know why.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, man. And to think that this is the best port, that's not good. Because the PlayStation 1 and the Saturn 1, if they're worse than this, that's not good.
On second thought, though, the PlayStation has, L1 and L2 has 4 shoulder buttons. And I think that for changing and strafing, maybe the controls are a lot better on PlayStation 1, but I can guarantee you the graphics are probably shit. Yeah. And the load times. How come this game has a load time?
on the 64 cartridge? Yeah, I was kind of wondering that too. The big goofy pixelized flame background, not looking good. I could barely read that text. I don't mean to nitpick, but the graphics are especially bad. Like, I cannot read the text.
I think a recurring problem with Hexen is it is not really a game full of good ideas. It's a game full of not Doom ideas. Like, it was a game just endeavored to be not Doom. Like, you get to the steel area and there's blocking enemies. Like, there's those guys with shields. You shoot them and they stop for a second and they block. I'm not sure if can you punch through them. I had to zap them once and then wait.
I just hacked them with the axe like nonstop.
Okay.
Like pretty much, I just walk around. I have unlimited hacking, so I just did that most of the time. But
And just
I didn't.
blocking enemies in a first-person shooter where you can't hardly strafe for shit.
No.
I don't know, man.
Actually, I didn't even know that guy was like holding up a shield for a while. I just thought it was like a guy with like a big gear around his head. It just looks so bad. But yeah, I mean, the fighter is like the non-thinking man style. You could just run around and punch things and hack them up. So that was nice in that way, I guess. But I still like I mean, being able to throw the flask, that's something, but it doesn't do much of anything. Like
So
I
like
really
your
wish I
guy
could
actually throws the flask. Like
Yeah, your guy doesn't throw it, he sets it down.
no, mine just like sets it down. I have to like walk up to somebody and like Bomberman style, get just close enough to him and then drop it and then book.
You know what I'd rather play than this? Bomberman.
I can hear some fatigue in your voice, Eric, and I think this is the great thing about this show is playing these games and really trying to give them a solid, fair play takes a toll on your brain.
Draining.
It really does kind of hurt.
Because, I mean, in this game, to be fair, I would, and this is just me, I would have to say this is probably the best game that you've done on, the best game that you've done on Is It Really That Bad? Because I feel like this is the best of those games. This is no Resident Evil Survivor. Because that is an abomination of first-person shooters.
Oh, no, now you've done it. Because there's some people who are like, defended that game. I can't... I mean,
I just want to say that Resident Evil Survivor is really pretty good game. I'm kidding.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
This is me trying not to get in trouble
for me
again.
to poop on? Is that what you were gonna say?
I was trying to not get into another one of these situations by being nice to those people.
Eric, would you play Hexen on the PC?
Like I said, this was an exaggeration for the purpose of that video, but
oh, for sure.
I would be, I'd definitely be willing to check out the PC version. And can I make a confession?
What's that?
I played the trial version of the PC game.
Oh.
It was better.
Wait, just now?
No, just a bit before, but it doesn't go very far. It definitely doesn't go into the steel level and all that stuff. It's just like, hey, here's the first part, and then you just... by the time we got where we were, it was way over. I've written down a couple things, if you don't mind if I just kind of go
for it, man. Yeah, I mean, I've been going through my list, so hit it.
I was just looking at some pros and cons. I mean, it did some new things. I like that you can select multiple characters. You can look up and down. That's new.
Yeah, it didn't seem to really help much. I mean,
it certainly didn't help that much because you can't really tell where you're at because you're looking at this big 2D thing in 3D space. It doesn't work.
No.
I was just looking at cons. Here's my number one con, and we can expand on this, but I wrote it down. Not fun. It's not a fun game. I don't want to play it. So that could be a fundamental problem with it.
It was a little fun. Like again, like the Steel Guardian, I had fun shooting and running and switching weapons. Little fun. I had a little bit of fun.
That was the funnest of them, but to me it was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, this is kind of like Doom, but you know what? It's not Doom. I'd rather play Doom.
No, I'm not even saying that. No, I'd rather play Doom 2.
Yeah. Oh, Doom 2. Yeah. Oh yeah. That took Doom and it made it Doom 2.
Yeah.
So it went up a level.
Yeah, it's more.
It's more Doom. Another con, it looks balls.
Yes.
It doesn't look good.
No.
I don't want to look at it. And
No.
and actually, I mean, I could be me, but I felt maybe a little bit queasy playing it a little because it didn't look that good. And
I will
kind
say
of moving around.
I got a tiny bit of a headache. I'm feeling it a little.
I was gonna say sounds kind of balls, like the sound effects and stuff. They're kind of recycled, if I'm not mistaken. They sound pretty Doom-esque.
There's a lot of sound effects. I don't know what they're for. Like I walk around and I hear this like crumbling sound effect, like
or like
rocks.
a crow or something.
Yeah,
and
like what?
And a frog.
I think they're supposed to correspond to like a door opening up somewhere.
But it doesn't.
I don't know. Yeah, the sound effects. That's another problem. Like in Doom, when you hear a sound effect, you know, okay, that is an imp, or that's a demon, or that's a hell knight, or that's a door opening up, or that's people warping in behind me. You can tell what the sounds are. But in Hexen, just like it's a wall of things happening, and yeah, it sounds good, but I don't care. I'm not involved in okay, wind is rustling and crumbly rocks. Fine. What does that mean to me? I mean, and the sound effects, like I think they're good sounding. They're quality sound effects, but they don't. They're not attached to anything. There's no correspondence. That doesn't telegraph me anything. And that's another problem with this game. Some of these doors that are actually doors I can hardly tell that they're doors. The game does not telegraph to the player. It really has a lot of faith in the player, and it comes across as kind of lazy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it looks better in the PC, and you'd be like, oh, this wall looks completely different. But on the 64, it's like, this is a different smear of colors. And it plays kind of like balls.
These
I think
controls, I think that's something I can definitely say. Like, this game is fun in short bursts, but those controls, it is holding your feet as you climb. Those controls are constantly holding you back.
And I think that in the PC version, if I'm not mistaken, you can walk versus run, where in the 64 version, unless I couldn't figure it out, you just run the whole time.
No, unless you switch to your pad, then you are clearly walking or something is going on.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, it's kind of a floaty thing, like running around. It felt a little laggish to me. I mean,
a little bit.
And definitely, there's a frame rate problem. I mean, you open a door and it's just like chung 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 chung. It got a little clunky on me sometimes. It got a little choppy, and running around just kind of this floaty mess. I didn't feel like the controls were really tight.
I didn't notice that as much. I noticed it was a little floating. The frame rate was a little behind, but I think the one good thing that we can't comment on that might be the only reason you purchase this, if you got old school Game & Buddies and you guys hook up regularly, Hexen has 4-player split screen multiplayer.
And that was, for the time, it was a big deal.
I think it was the first one to do that, because Turok didn't have it, Doom 64 didn't have it, and GoldenEye came out a little later. Even Quake 64, when Quake 64 dropped, it only had 2-player split screen, only on 4 maps. Quake 64 was not a very good port. I want to say the multiplayer might be worth it, but with these, like, if you're the mage and you're fighting the berserker, the warrior, like, it's not even fair, because the berserker only punches. If you just keep your distance, I'm not sure if the multiplayer would actually work, because the weapons are kind of lame in this game. They work for single player, but I can't imagine them working in a multiplayer capacity.
And I'm not sure how well they worked in single player, because as a fighter, I kept wishing that I could throw something or shoot something, because there's enemies, like the guy with the big head, he shoots stuff at you and you have to get right next to him to hit him, and that doesn't work very well.
Yeah, and again, if you're able to like bob and weave and do circle strafing,
you need better controls to do that.
I don't think the game is outright terrible, because I keep on feeling like this is just a bad port.
Yeah, it probably is.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn if it really is. I don't know. Do you think it really is that bad?
Is it really that bad? No. But does it appeal to me? I stand by what I said. It's not appealing to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it. I don't think it's a good game.
Awful, awful, awful.
But I would definitely never put it in like worst games of all time, and I would never say that it's really that bad, like on the level of Resident Evil Survivor, because that's really that freaking bad. But
so in any capacity, Eric, would you recommend Hexen 64?
I will say this. First of all, I would like to say that it's not really awful. It's not that bad. But would I recommend it? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm with you. But I enjoyed it a little more than you did. But I think we can both agree, like, man, hopefully the PC version is better. I'd say try that.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and leave that open to maybe that's awesome. Maybe that's an awesome game. But this is not an awesome game. This Nintendo 64 game is not awesome.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up, man.
All right.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right, and this has been another episode of Is It Really That Bad? And still not really recommend you play the N64 version of Hexen.
It's not that bad, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I really would not recommend it.
I don't want to play it.
Yeah.
I think we can conclude it.
Hey, Eric.
I don't really want to play it.
I heard it's your favorite game. When's your birthday? I'm getting you Hexen for your birthday.
It's my birthday, and we don't give a fuck. You don't like Hexen.
All right, and cut.